Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be an Amazon FBA sales update, and we're going to talk about what the heck has happened in the last year or so in my Amazon FBA business, maybe in yours too. We'll see how your experience correlates to mine, but a shitload has happened, and I wanted to really just dive in. I wanted to show you, give you a blow-by-blow breakdown of everything that's happened, all of the obstacles we've encountered, the challenges, the things that have gone well for us, the things that have gone really well for us, the sort of pee-pee panty kind of moments as well, of which there were many during the previous year. And I want to show you the results. So I'm going to break all this down dollar by dollar, blow by blow. You're going to see, again, all of the lessons and the things that I'm learning and have learned and the things that we're taking into the future so we can basically maximize this opportunity that we have available to us as much as possible, make as much money, live as good life as possible. I don't really have any other agenda with this video. I just want to show you one potential pathway of what this could look like, what this has looked like for me. I really hope that you can learn some of these lessons that again, I'll be talking about in this video. And yeah, I just don't really want to hold anything back. And so without further ado, let's get into it. By the way, if you do like these videos, make sure to give the video a like. I really appreciate it. And if you leave a comment, say thanks, whatever else, just shows me that this is worth doing. Again, I'm trying not to hide anything or to leave no stone unturned, so to speak. So let's get into it. I wanted to start, and I'm gonna let this unfold piece by piece, but I wanted to start just showing you my sales today. So what do we are? It's mid-afternoon in the US time zone. We're at about 7K for the day today. You see, yesterday we did 17,500. Now, what I wanted to show you, this is great, by the way. These numbers are fantastic. I'm really happy with these numbers. But if you look, so you can see the blue line's today, the red line is yesterday, the orange line is the same day last week. So, you know, they're all same, more or less. But if we look at the light gray line, which is a little bit hard to see, that's the same day last year. So we're looking year on year. Same day, 12 months ago, which was, today is the 16th. So the 16th of March, 2020, we were doing a lot less than we're doing now. And that's the first thing that I want to show you. I want to show you what the heck's happened in the past 12 months, where we've gone from a total of 3,600, just 1 year ago, 3,600 in the day of March 16th, to today, let's say we're going to do probably around about 17,000 as well. So that's from 3 to 17. What's that, about a 5x? Let's say 4 to 5x. What the heck has happened? So let's go through this. And I want to first of all show you not last year, but actually that previous year. So 2019, what did this look like in my business? The business that I own. I have a small team that runs the business for me. In 2019, this is essentially what we did. This is across marketplaces. By the way, just a quick plug for the software Shopkeeper. This is what I use for checking my day-to-day profits. How's the business going? Just the overall health, and also being able to dig down in a really nice way, a really elegant way into profits, into what, you know, where are sales coming from, where are we making money, where are we losing money. All of these things, I use Shopkeeper more than any other tool to do that. So I'll put a link down below if you want to go and check that out with a free trial. Anyway, this was 2019. It was a pretty steady year. You may have seen other videos on my channel where I haven't really talked too much past this point. Doing about 2 million a year. The profit, I'll scroll down so you can see that. This is not net profit. So keep in mind that I don't have any overhead costs in Shopkeeper. So what you're seeing is basically the product level profit. So that's, you know, I'm selling however many products, a couple of brands, and each of those products has COGS and costs associated with selling that product. Those have all been deducted to get to this profit figure. But then after that, you need to include things like salaries. There are other miscellaneous expenses, but overhead expenses basically that come out of this number. So don't take that to be the final number that you're getting away from this, or that I'm taking away from this. It's not too far off it. So that was 2019. Let's move over to 2020, and boom, 5.9 million. I'm just going to tell you now, guys, like, I'm really impressed with how quickly this business grew for me and how much extra money we made last year. Not to brag about it, but like, this just blew away my expectations. Now I want to talk about, rather than just bragging about it, I want to talk about why this happened. And I want to talk about the things that we had to overcome to get to this pretty amazing result. So let's break it down blow by blow. And again, we're starting off at where I was running at previously. Like I showed you, it was about 2 million. That was about 140,000 per month, 170,000 per month. And then it just appears to, in this graph, steadily increase from, again, 130 to now in May to June, we're at 250, 330. And then from July to August, we're at 322 to 479. And then it drops a little bit, and then a huge Q4 came through. We hit in November nearly $1 million, and in December nearly $2 million. So in December, we're basically doing what we did in the whole year of 2019 in 1 month. Just insane. And the margin actually went up. So there's a fair bit to unpack here. I want to first of all though just take it back to, I don't want you to think that this was like a linear pathway. It actually looks kind of linear here, like we're just linearly increasing. This was a terrifying year for me in a lot of ways. I mean, it's been a crazy year for everyone, for the whole world. But don't look at this and think that it was just like this easy pathway, because if I zoom in, I want to zoom into March, again, the year ago period, and just see what that looked like. There was a period here, so we were out of stock here after the previous Q4. Our stock ran down in January, so we ran out of stock, and then we had a period of about 21st to the 6th, what's that, 3 weeks, pretty low in stock. So those numbers were down, and then back in stock, and you can see that go up. And I'm going to talk about stock management as a seemingly simple problem, or maybe a boring topic to talk about, but it's going to come back as a recurring theme. It's something that really, really bit us last year, and I'll show you again later on how it bit us again and again throughout the year. But we stocked back up, and then COVID happened right here. And I got to tell you guys, I was terrified for this period here, seeing it happen. And I put a video out on the channel. I talked about the result, what I thought would happen. And in terms of the analysis I did on China, I got that pretty correct. But I did not think about the actual possibility that it was going to happen as it did, which was to spread through the entire world and become a pandemic. And all that occurred very quickly during March, and you guys remember this, but I was terrified during this period of time. I thought that not that the world was going to end, but the economy was going to crash. And during this period of time, firstly, I was learning crap load, and one recurring theme is that education and having the right knowledge, being intelligent enough, having the right knowledge, spending the time to learn the stuff that you need to learn to be able to make the right decisions, absolutely paid dividends for me, and not just in my Amazon business. Millions and millions of dollars of dividends in this single year, because I was able to just look at stuff as it was happening. Yeah, not always make the right call, but quickly adjust my decision making, my view of reality. And you'll see how it did come to pay off. But in March, I was very quickly going through that adjustment process of going, oh shit, like everything that I thought is maybe not true. What do I do? And I was looking at plans of how much of a downturn could I take in this business? What would happen? Would I have to fire my team? At what point would that happen? You know, how long could I go personally without any income? Really, like worst case scenarios. I'm very happy that I did them, because I'm happy that it never turned out. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. But it was a good exercise to go through. And I apologize if you hear chickens. I'm here in Puerto Rico at the moment, and I have chickens for neighbors. Anyway, this was a terrifying time, okay, guys? So just don't think that this was a linear thing, that we just went from 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 to 500,000 per month, from 2 million to 6 million. This was a really bad time. Luckily, as things turned out, things picked up very quickly. So we had the stock, and actually we started blowing through our stock. So our brands are both in a niche that was COVID positive, like positively affected by COVID. So it was stuff that people were using at home. It wasn't not something like board games or, I don't know, masks, medical supplies, things like that. So it wasn't like the preppers, the doomsday preppers, or the stocking up at home that we benefited from. But it was more like, if you're spending more time at home, you're going to be using our products more often. And so the sales started to go up really strongly. I'll hop back to this. And again, this is what it looks like on a linear basis. But the first issue that we encountered was, hopefully this loads quickly, go into the day-by-day view. We very quickly, I went from being absolutely terrified to suddenly realizing that we were blowing out of stock. And you can't really see it too much here. It looks so small because of our huge December. But basically what happened, March, sales went way down, and then very quickly, boom, back up. And if you see this jagged line, which just stays jagged, it goes up, it goes down. Sorry, it's kind of a bit hard to see. In May, it went down again, and then went back up again, and then that was in June, and then in July, straight back down, and then in August, straight back up. And actually, we were able to maintain the straight line up here, a little bit higher, doing around about 16,000, so pretty high, and then back down again, and then finally back up for the last final push. So that was stock management, guys. I'm going to run through these lessons just as a summary at the end of the video or a bit later in the video. But last year taught me, you can get really fancy with this Amazon FBA game, with your strategies, with optimizing PPC, optimizing using different traffic methods. Basically you can do lots of things, but ultimately you can't get the stock into Amazon at the right time. It's all for nothing. And so our focus going into 2021 and probably throughout the rest of the life of this business for us, we realized that logistics at any scale at the moment, but particularly at the larger scales, as you start getting more professional, more sophisticated in this game, you want to do the bigger numbers, you want to start doing 7 figures, 8 figures, which is what we're targeting. Logistics is the first and last thing you should be looking at. We're spending more and more of our time managing it, because it doesn't matter if you're optimizing your ACOS by a little bit here or there. As soon as you run out of stock, you're losing 100% of your profits. It all just goes to zero by definition. So, and we saw this, each of these little triangles, and it doesn't, maybe if I put it into week view, like I remember seeing these triangles and like seeing it go up and go, okay, great, we're making profit. And then when it goes down, see this little dip, that little bite there, that was like $100,000 in profit that I lost. And then we got back in stock, and then there was another $100,000 in profit that was gone. Just that little dip. And then this one as well was probably another $100,000. Same with the January run. So the trend throughout the entire year was just like, holy crap, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars are we not making in profit right now because we don't have the products in Amazon available to sell to the people who want to buy them. COVID in general has been really bad for that. It's been really, really hard. And I think anyone, if you're currently selling, you can probably agree with me here that it's been a cluster. And whether you're a newer seller trying to deal with the 3PL requirements, the ASIN inventory limits, which are still in place at the moment, or you're an experienced seller still dealing with those, doesn't matter. It affected everyone almost equally. And that was one of the key lessons is, yeah, it's affecting everyone equally, and it sucks, and it's, it's going to add cost to your cost basis. Learn how to deal with these problems, because that's what's now going to separate you from the cream of the crop, the top Amazon sellers making the higher margins, and the ones who just can't get it together. You won't see it as much because you won't even be competing with the guys who can't deal with those problems, because they're not going to have stock. They're not even going to show up as your competitors. And so this, we learned this lesson, both in a good way and a bad way, is that in the end, we actually managed to get this right. And so from December onwards, we've had it pretty good. But yeah, we lost a lot of money throughout last year because of that. Okay, so that's stock management. Again, I'm going to come back to that because it's just worth driving home. I know it's boring, but it's literally the most important thing. So I'm going to keep talking about it. We got our stock sort of sorted out, and I guess the other terrifying time of year was around here, or actually back here, like August, because everything was so unpredictable, and yet the business had just gone up from 30,000 a week to 120,000. Literally, it's tripled. And you know what that means? Maybe you don't. If you don't, you're going to find out. As your business grows, the money that you have to put into it grows as well. It scales linearly. The larger your business is, the more money you have tied up in inventory. And so I'd gone from, I'd gone from in March, not fearing for my life, but like fearing for the life of my business, being really scared, to suddenly going, oh shit, actually I need to pour more and more money into this thing, still not knowing what's actually going to happen with COVID. And then come Q4 PO time, having to double down, not even double down, triple down on the inventory that I was putting into this, was pretty scary. It was very scary actually, because we realized that if this didn't play out like it did, like we wanted it to, which was just a repeat of last year but 3x higher, that'd be a lot of money on the line. So you don't see it in these numbers, because this is all, this is part of the game as well, is that when you're operating at a higher level, well, at any level, but you start to be more and more aware of it at a higher and higher level, is that your job is to make the decisions 6 months in advance, 12 months in advance. You don't need to be doing that much work. You need to be thinking high level, looking down, like what does the field look like? Doesn't matter what the players are doing, but what does the field look like? Where is everyone on that field? And where can you see the weaknesses? Where can you see the things that are opportunities that you can take advantage of? And so you're making decisions way out. You've got an inventory timeline of 3 to 4 months. So in July, August, we're trying to delay this decision as much as possible, because it's a terrifying decision of having to put down $1 million, let's say, in inventory, it's probably not an exaggeration. I think it's around about that much, for something that you're not that confident that it's going to sell. Pretty scary. Anyway, it did sell. So Q4 turned out really well. Peak day, I think was 100,000, just the highest day, just before Christmas. So I can't really have asked for anything else. This was an amazing result. What else can I show you? This is kind of how the year panned out. The other win that I'm really proud of and happy with was backing our UK account, basically expanding our brand into UK. And I'm going to, again, summarize these lessons for you so that you can take this away in more actionable format. But I'm just, again, giving you the blow-by-blow of like what happened during the year. This was our UK sales. So I've just skipped ahead to just show you UK. So again, with ShopKeeper, you can select all the marketplaces. I'm primarily selling in the US. So most of this number, close to 6 million, most of that's coming from the US. And in previous years, almost all of it was. We don't really focus on any of these other marketplaces, at least not right now, not last year. But this was what we were doing in the UK up until we finally launched our main brand in a big way, in a significant way, into the UK. Now, if you are, again, this is for you if you're scaling, you're at the scaling stage, and this video is probably more, you'll get more value out of this than if you're just new to Amazon, you're selling your first product. Laterally scaling into different marketplaces right now is one of our primary strategies. So basically what the result is, or the benefit is, that you're going to get your reviews and your listings will transfer across. Now, this is a relatively recent thing, and it's kind of like a limited time opportunity where you can actually get your existing reviews from your main listing. Let's say it's in the US. Those reviews and that social proof, which is critical to increasing your conversion rate and therefore getting more sales than your competitors. That social proof, that review, those reviews will carry across to another marketplace, and you can pretty much launch without having to actually do any launching, without having to take that hit and pay for expensive marketing costs or expensive cost per clicks at the start, because you already got the social proof. So we realized that we were working towards it. It was lucky that we actually got this in place when we did, because with all of our inventory chaos in the US, and this is another lesson, is you need to prioritize. When logistics is the most important thing that you're dealing with, which it probably is or should be, you need to prioritize. So we were trying to get US in order first, and so we actually lost a lot of our inventory that we were trying to launch into the UK because we had to go to the US, because it's more important to keep your existing products that are making you money, that's almost guaranteed profit. You want to keep them running almost at all costs before anything else. So we didn't want to start launching in the UK when we didn't have our supply chain sorted out in the US. Excuse me, I'm just gonna pause my pawned order. So this was a bit delayed. We didn't have as much stock as we would like to have had, but the launch was incredibly successful. So we went from $800 a day, let's say, up to it peaked early on. We were selling at lower prices, lower margins, to get more sales volume happening, and then we ran out of stock for some products. But let's say we were running at from 800 to let's call it $3,000 a day. So another roughly 4x. We did it in the UK. We didn't quite get to $1 million, but this result was just awesome to see. It blew us away. Margin was good. 2021 UK is a big focus for us. So that was another win that I wanted to share. And before I go to the lessons, guys, like what else? No, actually, I will go into the lessons. This is what it looks like from lifespan. So again, I just want to show you what this has looked like for me. I've been doing this for a while now. I guess it's, if you're thinking in terms of like a career, going to studying at a university and getting a job that's gonna, you're gonna work for 30 years, it's a really short period of time. If you're looking at this in terms of, I don't know, like a passing fad, something that's just like the hot thing in the moment. Now, this is a long time. I've been selling for 4 years, so you can see over time what it looked like. I started at the end of 2016, year 1, year 2, year 3, last year was year 4. And I guess the lesson here, which I haven't put later on, so I'll say it now, make sure that you're opening yourself up to upside exposure as much as possible. I've learned this in so many things in the last year, particularly, where not everything, but I've seen multiple things 10x, and I've seen exponential gains happen to myself personally, happen to people that I see around me, that I know around me. you will never get those exponential gains, those literally life-changing moments. Everything can change for you in a matter of weeks, matter of months. It can be 1 year, which when you live, let's say 80 years, it's like a flash. 2020 was a life-changing moment for me in some bad ways and in a lot of good ways as well. And the key thing, I'll just say it again, is you need to be putting yourself out there, getting exposure to that upside potential. You will never have a business 10x if you don't start the business in the first place. You'll never have your investments go 10x if you don't make those riskier investments that actually have the potential to do that. Separate topic, I'll talk more about that in another video. But just seeing this finally happen, it wasn't 10x in 1 year, but it was 3x, which is not bad. It was just incredible to see. And it completely changed the trajectory. It completely changed what I thought to be possible with Amazon FBA, with my own business. And now knowing that, this is possible in my business, I know that you can do stuff like this too. So that's it. That's what it looks like. That's the pathway. Again, I'm just trying to be realistic and show you this is not what it always looks like. Honestly, most people will not make it this far. And maybe that's a good thing, because I think if it was easy, if everyone can do it, then it wouldn't be this attractive. It wouldn't be this lucrative. So that's that. I want to go through the lessons now. So let's talk about lessons learned. Some of this I mentioned. What else am I going to summarize? Guys, Amazon FBA is freaking scalable. This is what I was just talking about, but like seeing that happen at 3x, it's like, if you're getting a pay rise at a job, what are you going to get, like 5% a year? How many jobs, how many opportunities do you have to just, without actually increasing your workload, get a 300% increase or 200% increase? So 3x your income with no extra work required. And I can show you no extra work required because I didn't work anymore last year when my business, I worked less. I actually went from 30 hours a month, 40 hours a month. And then as the business scaled up, my hours went down to about a pretty steady 20 hours a month. And this year it's been less than that. So it's literally, I can't put this in any clearer words. Amazon FBA is a highly scalable business model. As you've seen, proof is in the pudding. Now, second lesson. This one's a bit of a harder thing to take, I think. The game is getting harder for newbies, and it is getting easier for sophisticated players, because I saw a lot of other smaller guys not do as well as this. I saw some people who are smaller do really well as well. But the key differentiating factor is that you need to know more. You need to be more sophisticated. You need to have more skills in this game, in this field. You need to basically just have like your shit in order. If you don't have your shit in order and you're trying to just pick up all of these skills and learn everything from the absolute scratch, if you're trying to do that while you don't have savings, you don't have a stable income, you've got all these other things that you need to like all get them in line to be able to do this, well, then you're in the newbie category and it's going to get a lot harder for you. It is a lot harder. And last year showed that as well, because a lot of people who wanted to start selling in 2020 or are looking to start now, there's just a lot more things that you need to know, a lot more hoops you need to jump over. Whereas if you're on the inside, not only is it easier for you to adjust, to pivot like we were able to do, not only is the magnitude of the increases that the gains that you can make, that's larger at the moment. There's a whole bunch of other factors that are actually like making it easier for sophisticated players. And I don't say this to turn you off the idea if you're not sophisticated, if you don't already have a 7-figure business, let's say. I'm saying this so that you can understand reality, at least as I perceive it to be. All this means is that you need to appreciate the work that it's going to take. It's no longer just like, okay, I'm a newbie, I can just quickly put some money in, put some effort in, find a product on Alibaba, source it, sell it, and I'll be here. I'll be where Myles is after a year because it's going to be freaking easy. It's just not like that anymore. It hasn't been for a while, but the game is just continuing to evolve and to become more sophisticated. So it's okay. The rewards are still there. Just understand the work and the pathway that it now takes to get there. And that's just going to continue to evolve over time. So, if I remake this video in another year, I'm not going to say, oh, suddenly it's easier for newbies again. I'm going to say it's harder for newbies and it's easier for people who are already in the game. So, maybe that scares you off. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, that's probably a good thing, because it means that you've got, I think I've got some other stuff down here, but basically, if that doesn't scare you off, if you're actually enticed by the idea that you need to become sophisticated to succeed in this game, that's a really good thing. That's a winning mindset, and you will win. You'll win at whatever you do, but Amazon FBA will, in the end, be a cakewalk for you, if you think that way. All right, what else? So I'm going to give you a caveat here. This one is not for new sellers, I don't believe. We, though, personally, running a multiple seven figure, getting close to the 8 figures now business, we now need to target home run products. I talk about on this channel previously, like how I don't recommend that, getting into it as a new seller. And that's true, is that it's harder to deal with. Again, you need to have your shit in order to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. But if you have your shit in order, go for the bigger products. Don't be afraid to put down the money on the table, which will be a lot of money. Like I said, like I think our Q4 was $1 million in inventory, something like that. That's probably terrifying for you. It's scary for me too. Don't be afraid to put that money down though, if you think you can do it, and if you've got if the money's there to be taken, basically. Because we wouldn't have been able to continually grow with new products. So we scaled our existing product base, and then we actually launched a whole bunch of new products too. But these new products that we were launching were all targeting at minimum, like 20K per month. More like 50K per month, ideally, and some a lot more than that as well. It just means that you can launch less products and get a much greater needle movement, basically. I talked about this enough times, but the biggest costly issue for us then, last year, and also going forwards, is staying in stock. If you can't get this right, if we can't get this right, nothing else matters. Don't worry about the fancy strategies. Don't worry about the marketing channels. Don't worry about all this crap. Don't worry about building this amazing brand or, I don't know, doing everything else except staying in stock. Because as soon as you're out of stock, there's no optimizations, nothing going to help. You're losing 100% of your profits every single day. So stay in stock. And that means that you need to work out efficient ways of dealing with Amazon's ASIN limits. You need to work out, you need to balance not just going for the cheapest shipping options, going for the best shipping options that'll get your product there in time. Now, this all changes again if you're just launching a product that you don't know is proven yet. Then staying in stock is not the biggest issue because it could be a dud, right? So you don't want to just waste all that money. But if you've got products that are making you money, you want to guarantee those returns. You want to guarantee that you're making that money every day. So stay the hell in stock. And that's easier said than done. We really are focusing, above all else, our priority this year, and this is in our business plan for the year, is just focus on staying in stock. Don't worry about the other crap. Like anything else, leave it off the table. So that's it, really. These are our priorities. This is straight out of the business plan. Number one, stay in stock. Again, looking back at those little triangles where each triangle is like $100,000 lost, that really hurts. So I know I just need to stay in stock. The next thing, and these are principles to focus on, what have we got? Ranking, rating, reviews. That's it. Rating and reviews, pretty much the same thing. So ranking and reviews. If you have an Amazon business, that's it. You just need to get ASINs ranked for keywords and then get reviews on those ASINs. If you can do that, there's a lot more to it, really, but once you're at our level, that's all there is, right? We know our brands, everything's like done, it's all locked in. Just get ranking for ASINs, get reviews for those ASINs, you will make money. The next step to expand that is, all right, rank more keywords, more ASINs, more marketplaces. That's it. Once we have those things in staying in stock, once we're focusing on the rating and the reviews, then the only thing we need to do is just get more keywords happening for more ASINs, more marketplaces. We can do that. Our goal is to get from the 6 million that we did last year, 5.9, not to round it up, the 5.9 million that we did last year, I would like to get that to, I think between 10 to 12 is possible this year, maybe a little bit higher than that if things go well for us. And this is pretty much all that we're looking at. All right, so I guess I wanted to tie this up. And again, I've been showing you my pathway. I've been showing you my sales update, the things that happened to me. I want to give you some context for how you can do this yourself. I've said some things already, but basically here are some pointers on how I would be looking at scaling if you are starting at zero. You're going from $0. You want to get to that mark where I was again in 2019, which was the $2 million or the 1 to 2 million, basically the low 7-figure mark. And then what do you need to focus on to get from there, from 1 to 2 million to where I've got to now, which is 4 to 6 million. And then as we're scaling past that, up to 10 million. There are distinct stages to this business model. Most of you who are watching this are in that first or early stage, and that's okay. Maybe you don't need to look at this right now, or you don't need to focus on this right now. But like I said earlier on, as you become more sophisticated, as you do grow your business, you need to start taking that higher level approach where you're no longer the player on the field. You definitely don't want to be that player. You want to be the coach or the guy sitting up in the box looking down, and you can see everything from a high level and see where do the players need to move to? Where are the openings? What's going wrong? What are the weaknesses in your defenses? Where is your offense doing well? So this sort of stuff, that's what I mean by that, is that high level strategy of just picking out the main points. You're not getting lost in the day-to-day. You're looking at stuff like this. So if you're at zero, if you're a beginner right now, how do you succeed at zero? Product research is a really big thing. And actually, a lot of the things leading up to the first couple of $1,000,000 will be the same things. Like, you basically just need to do them better and better. So I'll probably combine these points actually. But basically, product research, understanding what a good marketplace looks like in the first place, because when you come into this as a beginner, you don't. You really don't until you've tried this a few times. And so that's the next thing, is just executing. You learn the product research. Yeah, you've got all this stuff to learn. You need to go into it with a beginner's mind. And when I say that, I mean understanding that this shit is not easy when you're a beginner. It's not supposed to be. You're not supposed to know everything from the start. You do need to learn. And that's really it. You need to execute, learn from the execution, execute again better than the first time, learn more, and just be okay with that process. So that's when you're starting out. How are you going to get from 0 to 1 to 2 million? More and more, definitely more and more, you need to be well capitalized. So you need to have the money to be able to grow this business. I told you, and I'm pretty sure the number is accurate. I'm going to keep saying it again, but I think it was about, if we did 2 million in revenue, don't quote me on the 1 million of inventory, but it's something like that. Like, it's a lot of money. So that's how well capitalized you need to be for a business at this level. But the same principle applies when you're growing from 0 to the first couple of million. The money that you're putting in, particularly if you're growing quickly, the money goes up faster than you're taking money out. In fact, you're not taking any money out if you want this to grow quickly. So how much money does it take to launch one product? Put in 10K and be okay with that as well. So don't have that be your whole life savings. And some of you won't be able to meet that requirement. You won't be able to put in the 10,000. Maybe it only costs 5,000, but having that money backed up, like, so that when you need to grow, when you need to put in more money and actually like grow your inventory base, you're able to do that. It can get up to 10K and then way above that very quickly. So be well capitalized. I talk about this on my channel a fair bit. You probably hear it more and more, but it takes money to make money with this business model. What else? You're going from 0, you're getting to the first couple of million. To get to that level, I'd say that you're going to need to learn how to hire at least a VA. That's just, again, seeing that first metaphor of being the player on the field and then getting off the field slowly, becoming the coach, becoming the person up in the box looking down. The first step to doing that, you will have to do this if you want to get to a high level. You will need to learn how to hire and be comfortable hiring. A VA is quite easy to hire. You can go on Upwork.com. You can go on online jobs. You can go, I can't think of any other examples right now, but those ones will do pretty well to hire someone. And that's just basically they're going to start taking the low level stuff off you. They're going to start being those players on the field. You'll need to do that probably after the first million per year. You will, at this stage, need to have a very detailed understanding of all the steps in the process. So like I said before, it's about learning, executing, having beginner's mind, executing again, learning, executing. Once you've done that enough times, you'll understand everything. That's where you need to be to get to the $1 million mark. And realistically, like, the people who I've seen get there, these are the characteristics they have. They're pretty smart. They're not dumb. You don't need to be a genius, but like, if you're just really not smart, and this, I don't mean to sound like discriminatory or anything, it's just the people who get there, they're pretty smart. They can think about things, they can make good decisions, they can solve problems. Again, not genius, but like, you gotta be smart. You have to be determined. So you gotta be able to just like do this and do the work. And like, particularly if you don't enjoy some aspects of this business, I enjoy a lot of it, so it's pretty easy for me. But if you don't, like, you need to really want the end result to be able to do this. If you enjoy it, fine. You need to be okay with failing and trying again and not be emotional about it. So the failing and trying again is a key thing. Money comes into that because you need to be okay with risking that money and basically just not, if times are good, don't get too excited. And if times are bad, don't get too down about it, because you're just going to have to keep doing it again and again and again, learning as you go, executing, learning, executing, learning. And that's really it to get to that couple of $1 million mark per year. Now, here's where I've more recently gotten to, which is the 4 million and above, the mid 7 figures, getting up to 8 figures. This is what you'll be focusing on at this point, to get to this point. At this stage, you've executed enough that your brand, your product research, the marketing processes, things like that, that's all defined. Like, you're not really worrying about that stuff too much. Yes, you probably need to keep it updated. So maybe something you're doing product research was working, and then you launch some products, they don't work as well. So then you got to go back and adjust it. Or let's say you're marketing, you have stuff, you should have a launch process. You maybe want to improve that over time, but like, you're not building it from the ground up every time. It should be very comfortable by the time that you're here, you're launching these new products at the $4 million mark. Your brands as well, you're probably not launching all new brands all the time. You've probably got a couple, and you're probably just expanding new product lines into those brands. It's going to make things a lot easier for you. And that is going to allow you to focus on the things which will matter more and more as you get up to this level. Logistics, that's supply, that's keeping in stock, like I said before. I'm just going to put it here one last time because you need to know that it's super, super important. Again, it's going to make or break your business at this level. And then focusing on the high level strategy. So I've covered that enough times. You need to not be the player in the field. You need to be up there looking down on everything. And then really, like, we find that it's just all of these incremental gains and doing things incrementally better because you're executing everything at a high level already. And now you just need to make sure that you're doing it better than the people that you're selling against. That's your competitors. So we do view this as just grinding out in all of these different ways. So that's like, all right, optimize your PPC, just do it a little bit better than the next guy. Be okay with putting more money into that than the next guy, winning a few of those incremental ad slots at a incrementally either a higher cost or ideally a lower cost. And then you'll just start to get more of a conversion advantage on them. Sales advantage. You get more sales, you get more reviews. You get more reviews, you'll start to get more sales because you're getting more reviews than they're getting. So you can do that with marketing. The thing that I mentioned again and again is being in stock for longer. If you're in stock and they're out of stock, you get more sales. You get more sales, you get more reviews. You get more reviews, you get more sales. And that's how you build up this advantage. Higher review rates as well. Just like get some more reviews for every 100 sales. If you get 6 reviews or 7 reviews, let's say, and they get 5, over time, you will outpace them, your competitors again. The things on the margin start to matter. So that's shipping costs. That's like finding a good supply chain, logistics chain where you can do it reliably. You can actually get those goods in because you need them in stock, but you're doing it at slightly lower shipping costs. And when you're competing against new sellers and you're shipping 40-foot containers in bulk and they're shipping a cubic meter at a really high price, you have so much more room to just like push them around with marketing and stuff like that. So focus on those things on the margin. They do add up. And you've also probably hired at this point. So now you're going to need to expand from one person. Maybe you have 2 people, 2 VAs or whatever. You probably want 3 to 4 people, I guess, at this stage. We have around about 4 or 5 people on our team. I should know that number, but it's around that level. And just as a note again, like going back to the scalability, to go from 2 to 6, we didn't hire anyone. So our team stayed the same, the labor stayed the same, the work was the same. So you can get very far with a small team. And guys, I think that's it. So that is, that's how my sales are doing. That's what's happened. That's the crazy year that's passed. Now this is an 8-figure business, which is awesome. And again, just viewing this from this, like understanding how exponential these things can be. It's taken me 4 years to get this to an 8-figure business in total sales. And now I'm looking at potentially doing 8 figures this year alone. So just like these numbers still are mind-boggling to me. And I wanted to convey what that feels like, what that has felt like, the things that I've learned along the way. I really hope that you got value out of this. Again, leave me a comment, say thanks if you have learned something. Mention if you want to what you have learned. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, give it a dislike, I guess. It's all the same to me. And I suppose I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.